All right, so welcome everyone. Uh, Before I tell you who I am, and I want to start with something I've seen and over again for the last 20 years that I'm in the industry. So today, most lighting control projects they do not fail because of the hardware. Okay, they don't fail because of the hardware of the products. They fail because the design was wrong, the engineering, but from day one, because of wrong decisions, wrong protocol, wrong zone layout, a design that looked fine on paper and fell apart. And the moment someone tried to use it, everything is not working. Okay, so and really, to be honest, nobody talks about this. Nobody's talking about this thing. You don't see this in any brochure, in any catalog. You don't see it in the manufacturer training. You see it in the job site at 11 p.m. on a Friday, of course, and 3 days before the client walks in and wants to check everything, how it's working, and check the system and give you the approval. All right, so this is the situation. My name is Jose Mortillo. I'm the founder and CEO of Wolf Building Technologies, a company that is based in the USA. I'm also the founder of knxsupply.com, which is a online shop for KNX products, DALI, and so on, and the founder of the knxpronetwork.com, which is a network of professionals. I've been working in building automation and lighting control for over 20 years in commercial projects, in residential, high-end residential projects, hospitality, everything. It's real projects with real clients and real budgets. I'm KNX tutor trainer, one of the very few actually in the United States, and I work with KNX, with DALI, BACnet, and not because they are popular, because they really and simply work. Because when you design them correctly, they give you real value to the client and real money to you as well. So today I'm going to show you the most common design mistakes and how to avoid them. We will talk about switching versus dimming. We will go through 0-10 volts control, phase cut, triac, and DALI. We will cover control architecture, sensors, scenes, and zoning. We will talk about retrofits without opening ceilings, and we will cover how to future-proof the systems you design today. This is not theory, okay? I'm not going to talk about theoretical stuff. Everything I show you today, I've done it before in real projects, not just in the United States, but also across Europe, Middle East, China, Taiwan, Latin America, and so on. All right, so let's go. But before that, I would like to ask you a question. How many? I don't know. Maybe you have many. We have many professionals here in the room. So I'd like to ask you, how many years have you been working in lighting control or building automation? I want to know how many years have you been working. Just type the number. Just for me to have an idea what we have, the audience we have here. Maybe 1, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. Well, I'm sure many of you have been working with lighting control. From 1 year, you have just started, or you are 20 years in the market. All right. This is exactly who is this for. Whether you are just starting or you've been doing this for years and want to do it better. Because what I'm going to show you affects everyone in the industry. Let's get into it. So I want to address the lighting control, the problem we have in the market. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So first of all, ask you something. When a client hires you to install a lighting control system, okay, the question is, what do they actually want? They want lights to work, right? Just to work, because that's the bottom line, obviously. But that's actually the minimum, right? Because if they compare you with the regular and classical electrical installation, it just works, right? So what they really want, even if they don't say it, is to save energy. The system, they want a system that they can actually use, a system that does not need a specialist every time something changes, and a system that connects with everything in the building. But one more thing, a system that works the same way in 10 years as it does today. That is what lighting control means today. It's not about turning lights on and off. It's not about that. And yet, most lighting control systems in the United States and all over the world are still being designed the same way as they were 15 years ago. I've seen it by myself. So why is that reason? Why is this happening? Because most training that exists today in the market is product training. A manufacturer brings you in, shows you their devices, the products, they get you to the showroom, they show you how to wire it, how to connect everything, even how to program, and sends you home. That's it. Nobody teaches you how to think about the system as a whole, as a full entity, as a full system. Nobody's teaching you the design logic behind. Nobody teaches you how to make decisions that will hold up 3 years later when the client calls back when something doesn't work. And that gap between product knowledge and system design knowledge is exactly where most projects fail today. So I'm very glad that you are here in this webinar today with me because I'm going to cover these gaps, these problems that we face in projects from my real field experience. Okay, so the integrators who understand design at a deep level, not just wiring, but the logic, the architecture, the protocol decisions, those are the system integrators who stop competing on price. And this is very important for you and if you are in the lighting control industry. When you walk into a project and you can speak the language of the engineer, the facility manager, the maintenance people, the architect, you are no longer a cheap option. You are a specialist. And that's the difference, because they get paid differently as well. So getting the design right from the beginning makes all the difference. So that's what today is about. Okay? Let's get technical. Let's go into that. So I want to talk about some design mistakes, some common design mistakes, okay? Let's start with the most common ones. Mistake number one, designing around the product instead of the project. This is number one mistake, okay? Especially because most of the projects are designed and offered and bid from the manufacturer point of view, and from manufacturer itself, and not from the system integrator. So again, someone gets trained on a device, they like it, they love it, they know it, and from that moment, every project gets that device, no matter what the project needs. So every single project this professional is doing gets that device. This is backwards. This is totally backwards. The project defines the system, not the other way around. Okay? So bear this in mind. Mistake number two, this is very, very common as well. Skipping the lighting audit. Okay, so how many times you beat a project, or how many times you try to offer a solution for a project and you have not even take a look at that. So before design anything, you need to know what's already there, especially in retrofitting. What fixtures, what drivers, how the space is used, very important. In a retrofit, a hotel meeting room, an office, an existing building, this step is not even optional. If you skip it, you will choose the wrong solution every single time. Okay? So bear this in mind. Lighting audit, it's very important. Mistake number three that I've seen on site, on many job sites. Not thinking about zoning. So I've seen projects where an entire floor is one zone. So all the floor, number one, number two, whatever, everything is on off, all together. Because it was cheaper to wire, right? So we don't need to zone things. And then the client finds out they cannot dim one side without the other. Now you have a problem that needs rewiring. Now you have a client who doesn't trust you. Zoning mistakes at design phase cost everything to fix later. So bear this in mind. Getting them right costs almost nothing at the beginning, actually. Okay? Mistake number 4, no documentation. Oh my God, this is one of the... I fight for this, to be honest. I talk this in my trainings because this is very important. You make a project 6 months later, when the client calls and something needs to change, whoever opens a project has no idea why things were done in that way. No idea at all. And they break, really, I've seen it. They even break it trying to fix it because they download and they change the parameters and it's a mess. So good design, it's always documented. Always, all the time. So documentation is one of the most important things when you are making projects. Let's talk about switching versus dimming. So one of the most common decisions on every single project is that you need to choose, okay, we go for switching or we go for dimming. And this is important. Sometimes you don't need dimming. Sometimes you don't need switching. You need to choose wisely. So most people choose based on habit or budget. This is absolutely wrong approach. Switching is simple, right? It's reliable. It simply works for spaces where you only need on and off, storage, back of the house, hallways. Switching is right, simply right. It's cheaper, easier, less risk, and simply works. Dimming, on the other side, is powerful. It's powerful. But the fixer, the driver, the protocol, and the commissioning all have to work together. When they do, the result is simply amazing. When they don't, you have a big problem, my friend. That's very hard to find and very expensive to fix, let me tell you. So the rule I use always is never use dimming where switching is simply enough, and never use switching where the space clearly needs dimming. So a hotel meeting room, for instance, it needs dimming. A back hallway does not. Same for restrooms, for instance. So make that decision on purpose every single time. Okay, this is very important when choosing between dimming and switching. So let's talk about 0 to 10 FaceCAD and DALI lighting control. Okay, which protocol do I use? 0 to 10. FaceCAD, this question, I get it many times. FaceCAD, Triac, DALI. So my honest answer, to be honest, it depends 100%. But here's the clear framework. Let me tell you this. 0 to 10. Let's talk about 0 to 10 volts. That's the most common dimming protocol in commercial lighting in the US, for instance. I'm based in the US, so I'm talking now about the US market. It's simple, works with many fixtures, and it's good for basic jobs. So what's the problem? The problem is that it's analog, Okay, at the end of the day, you are sending an analog signal. You send the signal and the driver responds, fine, but you have no feedback at all. You don't know if the fixtures got the command. You don't know the real level that the fixture is at. For basic office, for instance, that's fine, that's perfect. But for a complex system, it's not enough. You need to go further. We also have phase cut dimming, okay? Phase cut dimming is very common in homes, in villas, in residential projects, and in retrofits, where you need to work with the existing wiring, with the 16 fixtures, okay? It's low cost, it's easy to install, but it has problems. Not every driver works with every phase cut dimmer. That's a big problem. In big jobs, it can create noise, and that's very hard to fix, believe me. I use phase cut only in specific retrofit projects where new cable is not possible and the budget is really, really tight. So that's where I go for triac or phase cut dimming, okay? DALI, Digital Addressable Lighting Interface. Welcome to the top of the lighting control. This is where things get interesting. So DALI is digital. This is not analog anymore. Okay, we are not in the analog field. Now we go digital. It's 16 volts, it's a bus, and every fixture has its own address. So you can control each one by itself independently, and you can group them any way you want. You can create scenes, you can check status, you can get feedback, real feedback from the fixture, from the driver, and a DALI driver tells you if it's working or not. It tells you if a lamp has failed. It tells you the exact level as it is now, okay? 10%, 90%, and so on. So for hotel meeting rooms, for instance, commercial projects, ballrooms, convention centers, DALI is actually the right answer, especially if you want to do something with the scenes, with zones, and so on. So let me tell you one simple rule here. If the job needs individual control, scenes, as I said, feedback, or connection with other systems, always go for DALI, 100%. Simple dimming with no complex needs, 0 to 10 is simplifying. Retrofit with tight budget and no new cable that you can run, look at phase cut, but you need to know its limits, okay? Wonderful. So let's move to the next slide. I'd like to talk now about architecture, sensors, and scenes. So, however, so far I'd like to know if you have any question before I move into this. Do you have any question? Is there something you'd like to know about dimming and about 0 to 10 that I just spoke about? Let me show you the slide that I've been using before. So let's see if you have any question about this, if you'd like to know something, how I do some lighting control systems in the US, not in the US. Ask your questions now. I take this chance to say hello to everybody that is joining the live webinar. Thank you very much, Sergio. Hello. Nice to see you. Okay, wonderful. So if you have any question, you can just drop it in the chat and we will answer as soon as possible or at the end of the webinar. Okay, so for those that just joined, we are running this webinar. It's about lighting control, and I'm talking about the different types of lighting control from the KNX point of view as well, because of this, all these lighting control protocols or systems or ways to control the fixtures can be done from KNX. Okay, so I'm KNX tutor. We are making projects in the United States with my amazing team here that I say hello to all of them. They're in the chat, and yeah, it's great. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions, you can actually okay, I have a question. If someone in this room wants to start doing this type of work at a higher level, where they do actually begin? So my best advice here is to, I would say, to start by learning what you have in the market and to know the possibilities you can do with that. Okay, so I have many people, not just in this room, but also I get many inquiries. Hey Jose, how can I start working with lighting control? Or I know lighting control, but I'd like to improve. So my advice is to know what you have in the market, to know the possibilities you can play with, to know your tools, because you need to know what can you offer to the customer, right? Especially in KNX. In KNX, we have 8,000 devices worldwide. Few of them are in the US because they are dual listed, and you need to know what you have. Okay, that's actually one of the reasons I decided to create knxsupply.com, because I can offer the other products, especially for the US market, because most of the line products are UL listed, and it's a one-stop shop for everybody professional in the United States that wants to go into KNX and DALI. So you can see what you have actually available in the market. If you are not in the US, you can actually also take a look at that as well. And yeah, see what you have in the market, see what the kind of actuators you have, the kind of keypads you have, and so on. That's the very first step. And I also recommend you to join our community, the KNX Pro Network, which is free of charge. We are in pre-opening now, so if you are not registered yet, I recommend you to register, because we are going to open very soon, and I want you in. Okay, it's free of charge. All right, so I have some other questions here. I want to know how to get feedback of driver and lamp from DALI. Okay, so the smart guy here is not the fixer. The fixer is dumb. I mean, the fixer, the LED, it knows nothing. So it's the driver. So the driver, first of all, it needs to be DALI. Okay, it needs to have the DALI protocol inside. So okay, so we have a ECG, we have a driver, which is DALI, and then we connect to the DALI network. So in the DALI network, you can read from a DALI master, you can read commands. In case you are working with KNX, we have the DALI KNX gateways. So they communicate with the DALI drivers, and they can read the values from the driver. Since the LED or the fixer is connected to the DALI driver, you get all the information there. Okay, so it's great. That's the way to do it. And actually, you can read energy consumption. You can read failures, ECG driver failure or lamp failure. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Second question is for choosing of drivers for face cut dimming. Wow. Very good question. Very good question. If you wanna go DALI, I'm working with LTech and Sunritter in the United States because they are UL listed. They have DALI drivers, face cat, tunable white, and everything UL listed. Okay, so if you want to take a look at the range of products that they have, you can take a look at knxsupply.com. If you go to drivers, you can see there the drivers. Actually, if you need something that is not there, you can always drop me an email, and I'll be happy to help you. Okay. Okay, what matters, Christian? What matters more in a lighting control project? The quality of the programming or the quality of the initial design? Quality of initial design, 100%. 100%, please, 100%. So with a good quality of the initial design, you can actually do a very good project with an amazing programming. But if you don't know what you need to program, if you don't know the customer expectations, if you don't know what the customer requirements are, you cannot program, and you cannot do anything with the programming because you don't know what he wants. Okay, so the first step is good design, lighting audit, take a look at what the customer wants, what are the customer expectations, where do you need this kind of dimming or switching, and so on. And that's the most important part. Okay, beautiful. So let's move on. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about control architecture, sensors, and scenes. Okay, so this is actually where most people spend less time. let me tell you, and where most mistakes are made. Okay, so control logic first. Number one, before you think about devices, and this is aligned with a question from Christian, before you think about devices, answer these two questions. How many zones do I have? Who controls what? From where? When does the system work itself? Need to be itself autonomous? And when does it need someone to press a button? What happens also when there is a conflict? Okay, so you need to think about this when you are designing a system. These are design questions. If you don't answer them first, the job site will answer them for you, and then you have a problem. Okay, because usually it's the worst way. Okay, so architecture first. All right, let's talk about sensors. An occupancy sensor, a movement presence sensor in the wrong place will trigger all the time or even never the light or whatever it's controlling. I have been sensors right above an AC vent, for instance, where the air movement causes false triggers every few minutes. So be careful with these small details. I've seen sensors in meeting rooms that could not detect people sitting in a table, for instance. So the lights turn off in the middle of a presentation. That cannot happen. Okay, so you need to arrange this from the beginning, the range of the sensor, the location of the sensor, and so on. So it's not hardware problems, it's placement problems, and it's the same problems. And at the end of the day, what happens? KNX doesn't work, DALI is not working properly, I don't like the system integrator doesn't know what to do, so. Okay, so daylight sensors, for instance, they need to be installed in a place. Okay, daylight sensors need to be set for the real light in each space. For instance, a sensor set on a cloudy morning in the winter will behave differently on a sunny afternoon in summer, right? So if you don't set this right and correctly from the beginning, the client will turn the automatic control off right away, and you have failed. And then this is not a smart system anymore. Okay, and this, I've seen this many times, believe me, many times. Okay, so second thing is sensors. Okay, take a look at that and be careful. Scenes, especially in KNX, the mistake I see most, scenes are created during the job site. Okay, at the job site during the job. So based on what looks good for the installer, and at that moment, empty room, of course, no furniture, no people, no nothing. And then the client uses the space and everything is wrong. So design scenes with the client, not by yourself, in the real space, with the furniture in place, with that lamp, with that whatever furniture we have, sofa, whatever, and that conversation takes 30 minutes. And the callback, if you skip it, takes even 1 or 2 days. Okay, so scenes are very important when everything is set in place. So let's talk about zoning, for instance. Zoning must match 100% how the space is used. Okay, so we have, for instance, a meeting room that can be split in half, that needs lighting zones, presentation side, no presentation side, or presenter side. Okay, if they don't match, the room is useless, simply useless. From a lighting point of view, is useless. So you need to give the client the flexibility, not so many zones that the system is confusing then. Okay, no need too many. So but enough so the space can really adapt, okay, to the function that is pretended to be for. All right, okay, so I'd like to ask you a question here. Have you ever worked or inherit a lighting control project that was badly designed from the start? I want to see this. I want to see your opinion here. Either yes or no. What's your opinion? Have you ever seen a lighting control project that was badly designed from the start? Have you seen this? Have you been working with this kind of projects before? Have you ever faced with this kind of projects, with these situations? because this is, I'm sure you have faced with this, especially in retrofitting. If you are working with retrofitting projects, I can tell you this is something that actually that I'm addressing more and more. Yeah, really. So yeah. Okay, so I see people that say yes. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you face with this. All right, so I'm not surprised, to be honest. I'm not. Many times I'm not surprised at all. Okay, most of us have been there. Okay, in that situations, most of us have fixed someone else's mistakes, 100% on a job site. So that's exactly why this matters. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's talk now about retrofits. Retrofits. Okay, so I'm happy that you are here today in this webinar because I'm gonna tell you something. The US, I'm based in the US, and I can tell you the US market has a huge number of commercial and hotel buildings that were built before the smart lighting control even existed. Okay, so these buildings have existing wiring, existing fixtures, existing ceilings, and clients who want modern control without a full rebuild. Okay, so that's the retrofit market, and it's huge. It's huge. It's not big. It's huge. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the 4 steps to get into this market. So step number 1: audit before you design, always. So visit the job site, understand the existing wiring, what drivers are in the fixtures, if they have some drivers, what can be reused. A retrofit without a proper audit will find surprises on site 100%. And surprises on site are money problems and time problems that you don't want to. Okay? So the step two, choose the protocol based on what is there. So not on what you like. We are engineers, okay? We love technical stuff. We love KNX. We love whatever you want. But you need to choose wisely. You need to choose the right protocol according to what you have. So where new cable is hard or impossible, wireless, for instance, is a good answer. KNX has power line options, not anymore, and also radio frequency solutions, not in the USA, okay? And DALI also has wireless solutions. Step 3, replace drivers. So I understand that this can be like, oh my gosh, because we need to replace the drivers, we need to open the fixtures, I understand. But you need to replace the drivers. We are not talking about you replacing the fixtures, and that's good. I mean, that's not that bad, okay? So in most retrofits, you keep the existing fixtures. I mean, you don't change the fixtures. They are just correct. They are functional fixtures. And you only change the drivers to make them work with DALI or 0 to 10 or face cut or whatever. That's much cheaper and the same result, okay? Step number 4, design for future. Design for the future, which is what we talk about next. So my next slide is about to design for the future. Future proofing does not mean predicting the future. It's not about that. It means designing systems that can adapt, okay, to several situations, to the changes, that can adapt to things you have not even thought of yet, okay, today. So my number 1 advice: use open protocols. KNX, DALI, BACnet, hundreds of manufacturers. You are not locked into one manufacturer. So if a device is old or stopped, you just replace it, okay, with a compatible one. No big deal, no big problem. With a closed system, you are tied to one brand. Yes, when they stop a product line or a product portfolio, you have a very big problem, okay? Next advice: design with extra capacity. So extra zones, extra cable runs. The cost during installation, it's very small, and the cost after is very, very high, okay? So design with spare capacity. Write everything down, please. please, always documentation, design logic, address plan, scene settings. A system that is fully documented can always be fixed and changed every single time by anyone with the right knowledge. Okay, even if you are not there anymore or you are not part of the project anymore, everyone can fix it. Don't let this happen to the customer. Okay, a system that only lives in your head is a very big problem for you and especially for the customer. Okay, train the client. You need to show the client. You need to educate the market. You need to educate the client. Okay, a system that the client understands. You just need to understand. Okay, it really stays on all the time. A system that feels too hard gets turned off, and then it's that's expensive wiring. That's this product is not working because you simply don't understand. Okay, there is something that I always say in projects, and I'd like to talk about this. It's about do I need a manual? Do I need to create a manual for the customer so he can see how the system works? Well, let me tell you something. If you need to make a manual, okay, to show the customer how it works, you failed in the project. You already failed in the project. That's not what we want. Why? Because the system must be intuitive. The system must be easy to use, must be something that everyone can use. Okay, you don't want some complex situations. You don't want complex functionality. No at all. Keep it simple, as much simple as possible, always, all the time. So if you do that, the customer will be happy, the project will be working, and you will be successful in your business. That's number one rule. Keep it simple. Okay, so when you've done that in your business, you can take a cup of espresso because you have succeeded. To be honest. Okay, so training is not documentation. Training is not manual. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever used WhatsApp manual to see how it works? Have you ever used Microsoft Word manual to see how it works? I'm talking about to do the simple functions. I'm not talking about scheduling. I'm not even about do some logic, some notification, right? I'm talking about something simple. You have never seen any manual for something you work with every day. So this should be the same, exactly the same. Okay. Okay, so let's go into this. So I'd like to ask you another question. So what do you think is gonna be the biggest challenge right now? So what do you think is the challenge? What do you think is the challenge in your the biggest challenge right now? Let me show you this slide. What's your biggest challenge right now? Choosing the right protocol. What do you think about that? Choosing the right protocol, designing the control architecture, or dealing with retrofits. What do you think is the biggest challenge right now? I'd like to ask this to the audience. Just say A, B, or C. What do you think? Choosing the right protocol, designing the control logic, or dealing with retrofits? What do you think? Just say A, B, or C. A, B, or C. What do you think? B, Cesar? Designing the control architecture? Yeah, makes sense. Choosing the right protocol means you need to choose not just from open protocols, DALI or BACnet or KNX or even proprietary system is a protocol as well. I mean, if you are dealing with some proprietary systems, they also have their protocol. DMX, AMX, okay? Crestron has a protocol as well. So designing the control architecture, I really think is going to be one of the biggest challenges, because you need to adapt and you need to think of what you have in the job site. You need to think about the customer expectations as well. You need to think about that. Okay, dealing with retrofits. So I'll say, fortunately today we have many options in the market to do retrofitting. We have centralized solutions or decentralized, and we have many options, especially for KNX. Okay, we have a lot of possibilities with KNX. We can do retrofittings with KNX. We are doing retrofittings in the United States with KNX. Okay, in the USA, where you cannot find so many KNX UL devices in the market, we are doing those solutions. We are doing that with KNX, and customers are really happy. Okay, because as I said before, the most important thing is because it works. Believe me, this is very important. It works. I've seen KNX installations today made 1, 2, 3 years ago that they are not working in the USA. Okay, so it works and it's future proof. Okay, that's very important. What I think it's that maintenance is very important as well. I think I'm gonna dedicate a webinar about maintenance. I think it's very important to talk about this because people, in especially system integrators, underestimate this in projects, and from my point of view should be 50% of your business. So maintenance should be 50%. That's my opinion. But we will address this in another webinar because I think it's a very interesting topic to talk about. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue about this. Let's continue about the business. Let's continue about the business. So the integrators who really design correctly, they, as I said before, they stop competing in price, and that's what you want. You don't want to compete in price. Okay, so when you walk into a project and you can speak the language of the engineer, the architect, the facility manager, as I said before already, when you can explain with your design why your design will work, and you are no longer the cheapest option, you are the specialist. Okay, especially in the hotel market, especially in the hospitality market, meeting rooms, convention centers, retrofits. The integrator who arrives first with a very good design wins the contract. I've seen this many times. Okay, so the one who arrives later, it adapts to what's already decided or loses, either both. So design is not a technical detail, right? Design is a commercial advantage. You need to see it in this way. And KNX certification is not just a paper, okay? In this case, it's what opens the door to the director of engineering, to the AV consultant, to the architect, and these people ask for it, okay? It changes the completely conversation, completely, 100%. Okay, so I'd like to know if you have any other question now. I think it's time for some questions. If you would like to ask me something, it's your turn. So, if there is something would you like to know about lighting control in the US or worldwide, I'm happy to help you. What solutions we have in the market for retrofitting or for face cut or DALI and so on. You are more than welcome to ask any questions you'd like to know now. Okay, we're having a great audience here. Okay, what are the early red flags of a bad system design? Oof. Okay, easy. I think that's easy. Red flag of a bad system design. Red flag is that you control something and you cannot get feedback. So you are guessing. So the system is guessing what's happening, and also I'll say you have an occupancy sensor that is controlling the light, and at the same time you have a keypad that is switching on the light, the same light, on the same fixer, and without any kind of interaction between them. That's bad design, to be honest. Okay, that's what I see many times in many projects. Actually, yeah, I mean, I really recommend you to learn KNX. If you are in the KNX business, if you are in the lighting control business, learn KNX. Go to a training, okay? Go to a KNX certified training. The reason is not to get certified. To be honest, it's not just that's the reason. I always say, get certified for three reasons. The main one is to know what you have in the market, to know the possibilities, to know what you can do with KNX, okay? Because it will open your mind, right? It will open your mind and you will see what you can do with KNX, and that's good. That's what you want, okay? Because otherwise you cannot offer that to the customer if you don't know what you can do, okay? So this is number one. Number two is to learn this kind of tips and tricks. I call it tips and tricks. In my trainings, I always say I'm gonna show you in 3 days my 20 years experience. Of course, that's not possible. That's you need to understand my language. I cannot concentrate in 3 days what I've been learning in the last 20 years. That's impossible. But what you learn is 95% of the mistakes you will be facing with when you go to a job site, because I'm gonna tell you this in 3 days. That's all. It's not that I'm trying to condense 20 years of experience in 3 days. It's because I'm gonna tell you what I did wrong, so you don't make the same mistake. Okay, that's what you learn in the training. Okay, and number three is because you get certified. That's important as well. You get certified. It's a worldwide certification. Does not expire. It's forever, and it's for you. Okay, it's for one person. It's for the person. It's not for the company. Okay, so I have a question, another question. Okay, Jorge, what's the difference between a cheap power supply and an expensive one? Are you talking about KNX power supply, or are you talking about DC power supply for LED or something like that? If you are talking about KNX, the difference between ones and others is the expensive one, usually they have diagnostics, so you can get information from the power supply from the protocol from the KNX side. You may know what's the voltage, you may know what's the current consumption, you can see many things. Okay, actually you can reboot it online and so on. So that's the difference between them. Some other question here. What's the difference between absolute dimming and relative dimming? Wow, that's a KNX basic course question. Okay, so absolute dimming is from 0 to 100%. We're talking about fixers. So you set the value from 0 to 100%. In KNX is from 0 to 255 value. So if you set 128, that means the light will go to 50%. You press a button with absolute dimming, click clack, boom, 70%, boom, 20%, right away to that point. Okay. If you are using relative dimming, that means you press the button, zip, goes up, stop, and then down, zzz, down, stop. So you relatively go up or upper than the step before. So you go up or you go down. That's relative dimming. It's not absolute. Absolute is boom, 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 right away. Okay, so Maribel, how do you design with scalability in mind for a smaller scale project when the client doesn't have the budget for it right now, but will need it in 2 years? Welcome to KNX. Okay, welcome to KNX, Maribel. This is one of the beauties of KNX because you can scale anytime. So KNX is a decentralized architecture. It's open system. It's decentralized. So today you need 2 dimmers. Great. Go for 1 module, 2 dimmers. Great. Tomorrow you need 4 more. You can add 4 more dimming modules. Great. I mean, that's the beauty of KNX. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to change the core product, the core solution. No, everything is in there. All right. Okay. So how long does it take you to fix a poorly designed project? Ooh, depends on the size of the project, but I've been working in projects for trying to discover everything for 1 week, especially on vessels, on boats, mega yachts, okay, where KNX is very popular, by the way, and especially in Florida, Okay, because they don't have the project and I need to investigate and research everything. So 1 week. Yeah. And how do you decide between DALI and 0 to 10 on a mixed budget project? So if you really want to control the fixtures and get feedback, you need to go for DALI, 100%. If you want to keep the wiring, if you don't want to change the architecture and so on, 0 to 10 volts makes sense, especially for retrofitting. But again, you don't get real feedback, you don't get many things. Okay, so yeah, retrofitting likes 0 to 10 volts and phase cut, and new installations they love DALI. I'd say that's the difference. Okay, so relative dimming is good, right? Relative dimming depends. If you want to be able to control the full spectrum, the full dimming values of a fixture, you do it with relative dimming. If you have 2 buttons, for instance, if you have 8 buttons, so you can do the lower 2 for relative dimming up and down, and the other 6 for different values for the fixture, 0, 25, 50, 100%, or whatever you want. So it's different approach on how to control the fixtures. Okay, nice, beautiful. So I'd like to talk to you about the KNX certified training. So if you are ready to design systems that actually work, okay, if you want to work with not proprietary systems but open protocols, KNX certified training is for you. Not just because you will learn KNX, but because you will learn KNX and DALI together. That's where the power becomes a fact, actually. Okay. So we are running hybrid format. We have online theory and the 3 days workshop with me, presential on site. It's the KNX official certification. Once you complete the training, and a real project methodology, I show you how to do it. I show you how to address training, how to manage that. I'm running this certified training. I love to do it. It's designing for exactly what we talk about today, right? It's not manufacturer theory. You will not learn anything about manufacturer. You will learn real project methodology. So how to make the right decisions in the right order. So as I was saying, the format is hybrid, so you can do the theoretical part at your own pace. It's online, okay? It will take you like 2, 3, 4 days. And then 3 days, full days with me, as I say, with no phones, no distractions, no nothing. Hands-on training with real equipment and real commission, okay? We are running these trainings in Florida and California as well, Silicon Valley, in the next month. So at the end, you will get your KNX basic and advanced certification, by the way, both of them. And these are the ones that open doors, especially in the US, where KNX is increasing more and more. It's limited to 4 students, okay? I'm running trainings of 4 students only with my 4 training kits. And this is on purpose. This is not a mass class. This is real training, and I want you to learn this because I want you to make business, because this is part of your professional development, okay? So the price is 2,500, and I want to be direct with you. Just one project, okay? One project that you do with KNX, just one, where you design it right and avoid the callbacks and close it as a specialist, will recover that investment many times over, actually, okay? So you have the links here in the chat, okay? You have the links in the chat, and seats are limited. The next group will start very soon. You can see the dates, okay? It's gonna be in May. And if you are really, really serious about lighting control, if you wanna move into the next level, this training is for you, okay? All right, so I think that's all for today, for this webinar. I'd like to say thank you very much for being here today with me. I hope this was useful. I hope it was practical as well, not just theory, but practical. And I hope that the next project you design it right from day one. Okay. So if you have any question, If you'd like to know something after today's webinar, you can find me on LinkedIn, where I'm very active actually. I post almost every day. And you can also join me and you can find me at the knxpronetwork.com. That's a community for professionals that want to learn KNX or improve in KNX. Okay, we are in pre-opening, so if you really like to get professional, that's the way to go. So that's all from my side. Have a great day. Have a great day. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and go and design something great. Thank you very much, and see you next time.